go to and let's. I think we can start the meeting. I'm calling the meeting to order, everyone. So, Secretary, can you certify whether there's quorum?
Yes, sir, we do have a quorum.
Okay. All right. Please do the roll call as a matter of procedure before we start discussing the agenda, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this BAC for Security Services meeting. This meeting is being streamed online via the CAAP YouTube channel. Please acknowledge once your name is called. Our presiding officer, Attorney Danjun Lucas.
Here.
Captain Dante Langkit. Engineer Elmer Gomez. I think Sir Elmer is here. Miss Jocelyn Ching.
Present.
Good afternoon, ma'am. And our end user from the FSIS, Colonel Hill Maglake.
Present, Mr. Chair.
For the BAC Technical Working Group, Attorney Frank Edward Marty.
Present.
Attorney Nestor Mendoza. Engineer Joe Ferran Joseph Torrefranca.
Present. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Engineer Michael Macabenta. Engineer Odessa Cortez.
Present.
Mr. Kevin Badua. Miss Maria Tricia Santa Barbara.
Present po.
Miss Vanessa Caime. For the BAC Secretariat, we have Dr. Rolly Bayaban, Irish Pression, Attorney John Bo Masiglat, Ms. Melina Reyes, Engineer Sonny Villabert, Mr. Thomas Duke Santos, and our minute speaker for today's meeting is Ms. Ira Mindanao. Sir, present also are the other members of the BAC Secretariat, as well as our observers from the COA, IES, Procurement Division, and that is all, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Attorney Irish, with the certification that there is quorum and the manifestation and enumeration of attendance of the members of TWG and the Secretariat. Can we proceed with the agenda, please?
Sir, our first agenda is the pre-bid conference for the provision of security services requirements for CAAP main office and nearby facilities under a 3-year service agreement amounting to 45,432,823 pesos and 44 centavos. Sir, we have 12...
That's an annual budget. That's an annual budget. The 40 million.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr.
Annual.
Chair.
So multiplied by 3 because this is a 3-year contract renewable annually. It's going to be 120 more or less, right?
Yes, sir.
Multi-year. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Sir, we have 12 bidders who inquired for this, sir, and they are waiting to be admitted, sir.
Okay, let's admit them. Unless there are other questions from the other members, I'm keen in instructing to admit all of them so that they can question and propound additional clarifications if any. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, for this project, the technical working group will be presenting the bid documents for this.
All right. Okay.
Mr. Chair, permission to proceed with the presentation, sir.
Are all the bidders, all the prospective bidders here? You mentioned there were about 12 who manifested initial interest in participating with the bid. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct, sir.
And they were all accepted? Can you confirm?
They're all
Yes, sir.
admitted, Mr. Chair.
All right. Okay, Attorney Frank, please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, thank you, sir. To all prospective bidders, good afternoon. Welcome to the pre-bid conference for the project provision of security services requirements for CAAP main office and nearby facilities under 3-year service agreement. So before I proceed with the presentation, I would like to inform the bidders that the bid documents for this project is already posted at the PhilJeps. At the same time, it's also available at our CAAP website. For this project, the approved budget for the contract, this is only for the first year, is 45,432,823 pesos and 44 centavos. And considering that this will be a 3-year contract, it will be multiplied into 3. And for this project, the following airports or facilities are the areas wherein the security guards will be deployed. We have here the main office, the CATC, Manila Control Tower, Manila Radar Station, Manila Transmitter Station, CAAP Hangar, Rosario NDB, Tagaytay facility, and in the Manila Radar 2. So there is the corresponding addresses of these offices. In your screens right now are the number of required manpower requirement, or the number of guards required in each post. So for CAAP main office, 20. So number of PSA guards, 58. Civil CATC, we required 6 posts. There will be 6 posts, and the requirement is 18 guards. For the Manila Control Tower, 2 posts with 6 guards. For Radar Station, 2 posts and 6 guards as well. For the Manila Transmitter, there are 4 stations and 4 posts, and we require 12 guards. And for the hangar, only 1 station or post with a 3 security guards requirement. The same with Rosario. And for Tagaytay, there will be 5 posts, and we require 15 PSA guards. And in Manila Radar, 2 posts with 6 security guards. So the total requirement for this project is 127 guards to be deployed in 43 guard posts. So there will be 3 shifts. First shift consists, for the time, they will be reporting from 5 to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The second shift is from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. and the last shift would be from 9 p.m. to 5 p.m. So for the for the equipment requirements, there are 3 categories: firearms and ammunition, communication equipment, and motor-powered vehicles. So in your screens right now are the specific or the detailed requirements. So each component or each sub-item, there is an indicated number of units required. For other security equipment, we also indicated here. And by the way, these requirements are available at or enumerated in or listed in the Philippine bidding documents, particularly in section 6 or schedule or in the schedule of requirements. So for the individual uniform and equipment of guards, we require a Class A uniform, and this has to be with corresponding paraphernalia. So 2 sets per guard, raincoat, rain boots, medicine first aid, a medical pouch, handcuffs, flashlights, non-stick baton, and whistle. So these are the specific requirements and the corresponding number of per item. So this is in your screens right now is the requirements and the activities. So you for the submission to CSI of 200 of the 201 files and the necessary document of private security guards. So this has to be submitted or to be delivered 7 calendar days after the notice of award, while the screening and interview of the guards will be done 14 calendar days after the receipt of the NOAA. The training of the basic ABSEC security guards, we have to schedule this prior to the
Yes, good
deployment,
afternoon.
together with the technical inspection and acceptance committee process. These are all scheduled by the end user as well. For the actual deployment of qualified private security guards, this will be done 7 calendar days after the receipt of the notice to proceed. So just take note of that. This I'm showing right now the qualification of the security personnel. Basically, these are the basic required qualifications. So, except that we require I mean, similar to other qualifications of security personnel, except that we are more particular on the aviation security training, the valid security officer license, and must also pass the Ishihara test. So these are something that is unique in our requirement. So the rest, these are the rest of the qualifications are also similar to that of the other guards. So this one naman po is for the qualification for the head guard or shift in charge. These are all these requirements are indicated in the Philippine Bidding Document Section 6. So available po to. So this is just an overview of the requirement. But if you want to go line by this, meron po yan sa Section 6. So for the security guards, we just want to emphasize that the Ishihara test is also important, and this is something that has to be complied with as part of the qualification of our security personnel. So other security requirements, we require the ABSEC training and liaison office, the PSA security provider, security personnel assigned at the airport facilities under CAAP main office and nearby facilities must undergo basic aviation security training. Phase 1, which is the theoretical, this will be conducted by the CSI mobile training team prior to deployment. And the PSA security provider must also require their security personnel to undergo ABSEC recurrency training every 2 years for previously deployed aviation security personnel. The PSA security provider must establish a liaison office near the satellite or satellite airport or facilities of the CAAP main office and nearby facilities, complete with office equipment, consumable, office supplies, manned by office clerk personnel, and at the company's expense 1 week prior to deployment. We also require the conduct of 2 relevant training, security training or seminars, but such as but not limited to bomb recognition, bomb threat management, behavior detection and profiling, crowd control and management, and CPR and first aid. But of course, if there are other relevant trainings appropriate for them, then they can also have it. We also require a security survey report per airport or per facility. The prospective bidder shall conduct security survey in each airport facility. So the format of this report is provided under bidding forms, specifically under form number 13. Security plan, we also require the security plan. This shall form part of the bidding documents, and the CSI will send a written notification to the PSA or security provider on revisions, if any. Thereafter, the final security plan must be submitted upon the issuance of the notice to proceed. So I will go now to discuss the highlights, just the highlights or some salient points in the instruction to bidder clauses. Well, the complete listing of the ITB is also available at our bidding documents for this particular project. So for ITB clause 5.3, this is for the the bidder must complete within at least a period of 3 years prior to the submission of the bids, a single contract that is similar to the project. So this is the SLC similar contract, which is equivalent to the 50% of the ABC, and or at least 2 similar contracts, and the aggregate contract amount should be equivalent to at least 50% of the ABC, with the largest of these similar contract being equivalent to at least 25% of the ABC. So the bidder has the option whether to submit just one single contract with more than with equivalent to 50% of the ABC, or 2 contracts with an aggregate of contracts. For this purpose, similar contracts shall refer to contracts involving to the provisions of security services. So yan po yung tinitingnan namin. Under ITB clause 7.1, we are not allowing subcontracting. ITB clause 10.1, the bidder shall submit all the eligibility and technical documents as specified in section 8, checklist of technical and financial documents. So these are the things that we are gonna check during the opening of bids, the checklist of technical and financial documents. For 10.2, ITB 10.2, this is for the statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started within the last 3 years prior to the deadline of submission and receipt of this bid. So following the form under form number 3 of bid forms. So these forms are also attached to the bid document. So the statement of the also under 10.2, the statement of bidder's single largest completed contract, SLCC, similar to the contract to be bid, the SLCC shall be equivalent to 50%. Again, it is 50%, or 2 contracts, similar contracts with an aggregate which should not be less than 50% of the ABC, and one of these contracts should have at least 25% of the ABC yung contract amount. So it must be completed with it shall be completed within the last 3 years prior to the deadline of submission and receipt of bids. So under item 10.2, you will be using bid form number 4. So we are strict about this. We are strict on this requirement, and then bids that are not compliant with these requirements shall be disqualified. So under item 11.1, The bid form and financial proposal sheet shall be used for the bidder's sum total of its financial proposal. The bidder shall also submit its bill of quantities using bidding form number 16 under section 7. Bidders cannot change or modify the item, formula, or amount indicated in the BOQ, and should supply only the amount corresponding to the agency fee, value-added tax, and the minimum contract rate. The BOQ should be accomplished or submitted by region and must be dated and signed by the bidder's authorized signatory. So non-compliance with these instructions shall be a ground for disqualification. So please take note that you cannot modify or alter or change any of the given form, except that you just have to indicate the agency fee, value-added tax, and the minimum contract rate. Under item 11.3, bid exceeding the ABC of the project shall be automatically disqualified. ITB 19.3, the approved budget of the contract. This is on the annual base. 45,432,823 pesos and 44 centavos. And this, as shown, is the breakdown of the total amount. So salaries, it composed of the salaries and wages, agency fee, the VAT, which is 12%, and based on the agency fee. So ITB clause 20.2, other appropriate documents required to be submitted during post-qualification. So should you pass the bid evaluation, should you be determined the lowest calculated bid, then these are the documents to be submitted during post-qual. Latest income and business tax returns, certificate of field jobs registration, and other appropriate licenses and permits as required by law. So any failure to submit any of this or a finding thereof to the veracity shall be a ground for a disqualification and for I'll go now to the general conditions for the contract. So in GCC clause 2.0, payments shall be made upon presentation of the PSA security provider of the billing for the covered period, subject to the usual accounting and auditing rules. The billing shall be accompanied by the following documents. So, certificate of performance, this is to be issued by the CSI main office or in the area or airport, attested by the area or airport manager. The official receipt of the remittance paid, the certification under oath attesting that it is compliant with the Dole minimum wage law in accordance with its representation and warranties, and one copy original of 4 copies of monthly disposition report duly accomplished by the security agency at the end of each month, stating the names and the guards and supervisors, salary rates, and actual attendance. Number 5 is a certification under oath attesting its prompt payment of wages and benefits of security guards. And number 6, monthly disposition reports stamped and received by PNP SOSHA for the prior month. So this is the MDR for this is for the prior month requirement. GCC clause 2.0, the PSA security provider shall pay taxes due in relation to the contract in full and on time. Its failure to do so shall entitle CAAP to suspend payment for the services delivered by the PSA. So this is in accordance with EO 398. Performance of security services under the contract shall likewise be in accordance with the terms of reference. So in GCC clause 4.0, the inspection and test that will be covered will cover the following. So physical condition of goods, conformity of goods and to the technical specification, authenticity of goods, and whether the goods are delivered are functioning. So in non-compliance or violation of the item stated in the 4.0 shall result in the cancellation or termination of the security services contract based on the findings of the technical inspection and acceptance committee. So this is during the technical inspection and acceptance of the project. So with that, Mr. Chair, we end our presentation for the first item of our agenda, which is the provision of security services requirements for CAAP main office and nearby facilities under the 3-year service contract. At this juncture, Mr. Chair, the technical working group, together with the end user, is now ready to accept any clarification or queries from the prospective bidders, sir.
Thank you, Attorney Frank. Just to clarify, it says a 3-year service agreement. So the contract will be 3 years but renewable every year, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And the budget per year is 40-something million.
45 million, sir.
45 million. Okay, thank you for the clarification. And with that, we're opening the floor for any questions or clarifications from any prospective bidders. Thank you.
Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair?
Yes, Secretariat, please recognize whoever is that wanting to ask questions.
Yes, sir. Please acknowledge, please introduce your name, sir, and the company that you represent, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Attorney Bernard Philip Claustro from Eagle Matrix Security Agency.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead with your question.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to raise some clarification. Going over the presentation and the bid documents that was uploaded in the PGEPs, we noticed, Mr. Chair, that in the eligibility requirements, particularly bid data sheet 10.1, where there are several checklists of requirements. So we are also aware, Mr. Chair, that last 2020, the GPPB issued a circular number 04/2020, and this was approved by Resolution 16-2020, streamlining the requirements for the eligibility and other requirements for bidding. So may we know, Mr. Chair, if that resolution and circular was taken into consideration in the preparation of the bid documents that we are supposed to submit for this bidding.
Thank you, Attorney Claustro. Attorney Frank, would you kindly make some comments on the queries by Eagle Matrix, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, sir, we take into consideration the issuance of the GPPB, but for purposes of this procurement activity, Mr. Chair, the enumerated checklist of technical and financial documents as indicated in ITB Clause 10.1, we stand by this and we require the prospective bidders to submit this documentation for these bidding purposes, sir. But yes, sir, we take into consideration the documentation as mentioned in the GPPB resolution, Mr. Chair.
Meaning, Attorney Frank, over and above the streamlined processes and enumeration of the documents, we are requiring additional, and meaning we require more documents in 10.1. Is that what we are to understand?
Yes, Mr. Chair. On top of the requirement, because the GPPB resolution, Mr. Chair, did not in any way restrict the procuring entity to require additional documents for specifically for the technical and financial documents.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Frank.
A follow-up question, Mr. Chair, may I be allowed?
Yes, sir, you're allowed. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we noticed that in the same circular, particularly 4.3, the PEs or the procuring entities shall not revise or amend the eligibility requirements as provided for under Section 17 and 23 of 2016 IRR of 9184. And there is also a proscription in the same section on the part of the PEs from requiring the bidders to submit additional documents other than that what are required under the said rules. So is that provision taken also into consideration, Mr. Chair?
Attorney Frank, would you care to reply to that, please?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. We take note, Mr. Chair, of the observation of Eagle Matrix, Mr. Chair. We will look into that again. We will look into that provisions again. But as far as I know, Mr. Chair, we take that into consideration, the issuances of the latest issuances of GPPB. But should there be a need, Mr. Chair, for us to require, should there be a need for us to issue bid bulletin to correct or to amend the bid documents, we will just do so. But for the meantime, Mr. Chair, we will go again to the provisions of the GPPB resolution and try to marry the bid documents with that provision, Mr. Chair.
Right. Thank you, Attorney Frank. Make sure that we are compliant with pertinent rules and regulations, be it recommendatory, more so for procurement law. We make sure that all our, I'm sorry, I'm hearing feedback. It's very disturbing. I don't know where it's coming from. Anyway, Attorney Frank, just make sure that we are compliant with whatever legal maxims are required for us. If need be, we can issue instructions to bidders and make some revisions. Just make sure that we are properly handling the documentations as observed by our bidders, Attorney Frank. I trust that the TWG and our secretariat will look into this and make sure that we take into account the observations raised and the manifestations given. Thank you, Attorney Frank. That is the guidance.
Yes,
Unless
Mr.
there
Chair.
is any further guidance from the other members, I think we should make sure that compliances will be very strict insofar as rules and regulations are concerned. Taking into account also the instruction of the DG and the board to make sure that we, moving forward, execute fresh contracts insofar as the security service providers are concerned. Thank you, Attorney Frank. Attorney Claustro, I hope that answers your question, and we will look into that further and rest assured that there will be revisions if need be, by taking into account and considering your comments.
Very well, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you have other follow-up questions?
Well, Mr. Chair, some follow-up questions, of course, is we need the final checklist because I understand the date of bidding is so close. So if the procuring entity decides to remove some of the requirements based on the GPPB circular, then I believe that each bidder should be informed in advance so that they can prepare.
Of course, that's part of due process, sir. So we will make sure that the Secretariat and the TWG will issue the necessary guidance to all our bidders within the reglementary period determined in the procurement law. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Attorney Frank, do you have a, when can we expect any comments, manifestation, or clarification from BAC insofar as the questions are concerned?
Sir, we will immediately look into the provisions as observed by Attorney Claustro by the Eagle Matrix, sir, and as provided in the 9184 in its IRR, sir, we can issue the bid bulletin that is 7 days before the opening of the bid, sir.
Okay, thank you. Let's consider that because that's part of the due process requirement, and that's our obligation and the right of the bidders who want to participate. Maraming salamat, Attorney Frank. Attorney Claustro, any other concerns from Eagle Matrix which you want to raise?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. On the timeline, we understand that there are physical surveys that will be required, and the areas are scattered. So, will the requirement be enough, Your Honor, to conduct the necessary surveys? Because we understand in the previous biddings, we had enough time to go around and conduct the physical survey in the various airports. So considering also the restrictions that we have around, it will be a little bit difficult for prospective bidders to go around not as free as before, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we will take that into account, but as I mentioned a while back, Attorney Claustro, we are, maybe it's not the concern also of the bidders, but insofar as CAAP is concerned, we are trying to fast track and expedite the procurement to ensure that by January, we will have our fresh contracts with
Yes.
our security providers. So I hope you can bear with us and try to maximize our resources to ensure that the necessary uh, inspection will be done within the time limit. But if there are any concerns, let us know, maybe write us a letter so that we can consider. But as of now, I hope everybody would understand that considering the limitations also, insofar as time is concerned, we would have to stick with the initial deadline unless there are more pressing and reasonable overriding reasons that will be given by any bidder to us. Okay, so but ngayon, sir, so we'll stick muna with the timeline that we set. But please do write us a letter if there are any concerns that you think is justifiable.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney Claustro.
Thank you.
Other concerns, sir? If none, can we solicit any further from other bidders? Melanie from North Point. I'm reading from the message box that a representative from North Point would like to raise a question. Maybe Attorney Irish, you can read.
Yes, sir. If I may, sir, we have a question from Miss Melanie of North Point. There was a similar bidding prior to this with exact title. Parehas lang po ba sila?
Attorney Frank?
Sorry, Attorney Irish, you're not coming in clear.
Yes, sir. To repeat the question of Miss Melanie from North Point, sir, there was a similar bidding prior to this with the exact title. Parehas lang po ba sila? Mr. Chair, if I may, I think North Point also sent us a letter, sir, an email, I guess, thinking about this, they asked the similar question, sir, and we also, they replied to their concern, sir. We informed them that we have a prior bidding to this, sir, which was declared a failure. If that would be confirmed by the TWG, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chair, yeah. If North Point is referring to the previous project, Mr. Chair, this is a rebid of the project, considering that there was a failure of bidding in the previous procurement activity.
Okay. Thank you. But were we able to, I mean, because this is a special BAC, but the previous BAC handling security service agreement, would they able to advise the bidders or any participants on that? Maybe that is what's lacking. That is why North Point is asking us on this very basic question. So once and for all, I don't know if the bid bulletin mentions that this is a rebidding of this particular service agreement. So anyway, I hope
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Melanie, go ahead, Attorney Frank. Sige, please explain further.
The bidders, Mr. Chair, were properly informed. There was a bid bulletin issued for the cancellation. I mean, there was a notification through the bid bulletin informing that the subject procurement activity was declared failure of bidding.
Okay, great. I just want to put that on record because that's a basic requirement to advise everybody. All right. Can you mute if you're not talking, may we request everyone to please your microphones on mute so as not to disrupt the proceedings, please. I hope that answers the question of our prospective bidder from North Point. Anyway, would there be any other questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, in relation to the previous bidding, Mr. Chair, which was eventually declared as failure, we were required to purchase bidding documents, and the amount is, of course, it's not that insignificant. So can we use the payment that we paid before to purchase the documents again here, or we will be required to pay another bidding document?
Mr. Chair, if I may respond.
Okay. Are you sure you want to respond now, or do you want to reserve your, because that was another BAC, so I don't know if, I'm just trying to, to follow the process. Do we have personality to do that?
Mr. Chair, in relation to this procurement activity, Mr. Chair, those who participated previously and who already purchased the bid documents, they can avail of the
Refund.
the bid documents without necessarily paying additional fees for that, Mr. Chair. So the amount that they paid will be used for this procurement activity.
So the answer to Attorney Claustro's question is yes, they can use it. We're not going to refund it. We're just going to apply the payment before and consider that as payment for this rebidding. Right?
Yes,
no more
Mr.
reimbursement. It's just a matter of offsetting or any similar mechanism. Okay?
Yes.
So Attorney Claustro, it's yes. You can use that if you purchase and already paid. So, I mean, anyway, it's not your fault that the bidding did not push through. It's
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I understand there are others who want to propound questions. Any other prospective bidders who want to raise questions? North Point.
Hi. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am. You're Melanie.
Hi, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon po. May I ask na rin po kasi paano po kapag hindi namin gusto sumali for this project? Will it be refunded pa din? Or ano?
Attorney Frank, can you answer that?
Ma'am, we will we take note, ma'am, of your query po, ma'am. Pero we will refer po muna sa aming accounting, ma'am, kasi baka we just don't want to violate any accounting rules then with regard to the reimbursement. But definitely, ma'am, we will revert to you. We will write you in relation to your query po.
That's Ma'am Melanie, that's a very appreciate the answer of Attorney Frank, but well, that's very vague. So I hope you understand right now. We're just going to consult with our accounting, but we will make sure that we follow the process insofar as reimbursements and refunds are concerned. Mayroon lang kaming mga kailangan i-clarify with our COA and our accounting. But if ever that you're not anymore interested to join the rebidding, then we will find a way on how to I don't want to use refund muna, but to compensate the monies that you paid already. But rest assured that we will make sure that kung ano man yung due you, we will be giving it back to you under pertinent rules and regulations ng CAAP and ng COA. Thank you po. Any other questions? Attorney Claustro.
Again, it seems I'm the only one asking question. Anyway, Mr. Chair, this is part of my earlier question, but for specificity, there is also a requirement for MDR in the previous month in the as part of the supporting documents for billing, which is an additional requirement. We just want to point that, Mr. Chair, that again, in consonance with the GPPB circular, it should be looked into by the Honorable TWG and the Bids and Awards Committee.
We will, sir. We will. Attorney Frank and Attorney Iris, please look into that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Noted, sir.
And added to that, Mr. Chair, tuloy-tuloyin ko na po. Kung
Go ahead, sir.
With respect also to the systems of penalties, as provided for in the contract implementation, we have also concerns here as far as the nature and the level of penalties that will be imposed, which is even higher than what is provided for by 5487 and its IRR. So we understand that while they may be part of the contract provisions, there is always a rule in contract stipulations that all its provisions should not be contrary to law, morals, public order, etc. So again, we want to raise that for the consideration of the TWG.
Okay. Sige, sir. We're very well taken, and that's well noted. Attorney Frank, Attorney Iris, again, the guidance coming from the BAC membership, make sure we are consistent with whatever is written under pertinent security and procurement rules and law. But of course, we also understand that the penalty provisions are important so that we make sure that compliances will be continuously be made by our service provision, so that the government will not be prejudiced and so far as security of these very important installations, which comprise of airport, any other air navigation installations. Very vital. It is important also that we reiterate that to our service providers, precisely why we're including and inserting penalty provisions. But of course, without prejudice also to reasonability. Okay. Thank you, Attorney Frank, Attorney Iris. Any other questions from...
Mr. Chair.
Yes, si Ma'am, sino ba na una? Iris, sige, ikaw muna. Then I think one of the bidders would like to raise some questions. Si Miss Marie.
Yes, sir. There is another question from North Point, sir.
Okay.
There was no failure declared. The opening of bid docs was postponed indefinitely. So, Mr. Chair, if I may, the BAC Secretariat, in coordination with TWG, sir, will just make the necessary posting or notification to the bidders, sir, of the previous BAC Bravo, sir, in relation to this procurement project, sir, if we may, sir.
Please do, because again, as mentioned, we emphasize that notices, whether we think it's a simple notice, is part of the process requirement. So let's make it a practice to comply and follow this. Okay, moving forward, this is very important.
Sir, there is
Thank you.
also a question from North Point in relation to this bidding. Pwede po ba namin gamitin yung mga lumang certificates like yung site inspection and survey report?
I would defer to the TWG.
Mr. Chair, to respond to that, Mr. Chair, in consultation with the end user, Mr. Chair, considering that the conditions at the airport or at the facilities wherein these guards will be deployed, since there are, it's still applicable at the present time. Thus, we are allowing the previous site inspection being used for these bidding purposes, Mr. Chair. Just like in any other projects that we do have, we also allow the site inspection or other documentation that were used previously for the present bidding purposes.
All right,
Thank you,
claro. So that would save time and valuable resources to prospective bidders if previously you participated in the previous failed bidding. Okay, so that's on record. So you can use that and then submit. Okay, thank you very
Mr.
much.
Chair.
Sige, Attorney Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, just a reminder, Mr. Chair, that while we can use the bidders, prospective bidders can use the old site inspection or other documents, but please be guided pa rin po sa new bidding documents pa rin po natin. Baka lang po meron na pong hindi na siya applicable na mga provisions. Just a reminder po
Okay.
sa mga bidders po. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Sige, si Miss Marie.
Hi po, good afternoon. This is Marge Quintana from Advanced Remote. I have a clarification lang pertaining for the DOLE Certificate of Compliance. Upon checking on this, kasi the DOLE Certificate of Compliance on Occupational Health and Service, safety and health standard, they did not issue a certificate of compliance right now. This is also a part of the documents that we need to comply on the bidding documents. However, upon checking on the DOLE, they did not give a certificate of compliance. This is actually suspended.
Attorney Frank, ano ang question?
What if hindi kasi kami makakapag-provide, or if there's any attachment kasi under labor advisory that they did not issue or postpone yung DOLE Certificate of Compliance.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Attorney Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, in response to that, Mr. Chair, we will look into that. We will go over again yung sa issuance ng DOLE, and if the issuance would
Yan ba yung DO 184? Yan ba yung department order doon sa independent contractor?
It's a different po. It's DOLE 174 is a registration of certificate.
Oh, DOLE 174.
Yeah, it's a DOLE certification po siya. Pero it's a separate, magkaiba po pa yung DOLE Certificate of Compliance.
Okay, sige, Attorney Frank, look into that. But I think security agencies are treated differently. But just look into that. Okay.
Yes,
So
Mr.
we don't
Chair,
want to impose unreasonable requirement to open up the bid to all prospective bidders. That's actually to the best interest of the government. So let's look into that. If we can, be flexible insofar as the requirements are concerned, without sacrificing security, safety, and accounting rules. Let's look into that. Thank you, Attorney Frank.
Thank you, sir.
One thing, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, ma'am.
This is relative on the mandatories or the SSS Pag-ibig and PhilHealth. Yes, we understand that we need to comply on the certificate of compliance for the following mandatories. However, in the absence of the following documents, we understand the submission of bidding is not it's on December 20. However, in the absence of the certificate of compliance, we can, if the prospective bidders provide a fruit of payment,
Pwede ba yun?
in the absence of certificate of compliance. Kasi I understand kasi medyo tight na rin kasi, and yung kasi hinihingaan namin, the SSS and Pag-ibig PhilHealth, hindi sila ganun kabilis mag-provide ng needs namin.
Ano ba ang Attorney Frank, di ba there's a period doon sa certification, ano ba yung required natin? What's the reckoning time? Because papasensya na mama, I hope you also understand that this is also important for us to make sure that the security guards are also taken care of. It has happened several times already.
Yes, I
that
understand.
the CAAP has been held solidarily liable. So ang nangyari, kami po ang pinagbabayad ng labor arbiter. So this is part of our monitoring also. But of course, we're going to be flexible kung ano yung pwede namin, but within the bounds of the regulation. So we will defer to the study of TWG and CSIS ang aming end user. But I hope you also understand where this requirement is coming from. And of course, you also want to take care of your personnel, security personnel. Sa amin naman, while protecting our security personnel, we also have to protect the funds. It has happened several times nga po na even the personal funds of our officers are garnished dahil sa mga non-compliances ng hindi ko naman sinasabing isa sa inyo yun, but it has happened, yung mga fly-by-night security agents. So, this is very important to us. So, if you can comply, then that's good. But again, yung question ninyo, we take that into account. Attorney Frank and our security service would look into other alternatives, if any. At this time, we will not commit, but we'll look into that. We will consider. Thank you, ma'am. That's a very good question, actually.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Salamat po. Okay. Do we have other questions? But this is a very productive Q&A. I hope we get to settle and improve further our terms of reference and bid documents. Are there any further questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, attorney.
Yeah, just a sharing, Mr. Chair, regarding the authority or clearance for the PEs to accept alternate documentary requirements for procurement activities. So, under these circumstances, you can use this as a basis under GPPB Resolution Number 09-2020. So, as far as, especially on the clearances, which it's very difficult to get them from today, and considering further the proximity of the date of bidding, it will be really difficult to secure those clearances.
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney Claustro. Attorney Frank and Attorney Irish, in coordination with Colonel Maglake, please look into that.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we will take that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Do we have other from our inbox? Meron pa ba tayong questions? Okay. I don't see any other bidders. Do you see any others? So, if none, we can close this particular item in our agenda and move forward. Tama ba? Wala na?
There is none in the inbox, sir.
Okay. So, I don't see anybody raising their virtual hands. So, I think we can close this matter and proceed to the next item. Again, maraming salamat po sa ating mga bidders. Thank you for your questions and thank you for the manifestations. Very helpful. I hope you understand also that the requirements are born out of our the importance that is given to security and safety. This is a very important contract. That is why the guidance given to us is to make sure that there will be fresh contracts, and as much as possible, we avoid extensions of contracts because that is not beneficial both for the authority and also to the security agency because we cannot renegotiate the terms. So, ayun po. Kaya again, maraming salamat po, and if you're really interested, maraming salamat po, and good luck sa ating lahat for this particular item. But rest assured that we will make sure that the bidding is regular, expedited, and we go through the proper process. Thank you very much, everyone. So, okay, Secretariat, let's proceed to the next item, please.
Sir, the next item is the provision of security services requirements for CAAP Area 10 under a 3-year service agreement, sir.
Okay. We are expecting the same bidders?
Yes, sir. We have 11 bidders for this one, sir. Practically the same bidders that attended the first.
Practically. Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon again. Considering, Mr. Chair, that all the attendees of the previous project, pre-bidding conference of the previous project are also the same attendees for these for the provision of security services for CAAP Area 10, we will be highlighting only the major difference of and the requirements for the project. So for this project, the ABC is 48,137,383 pesos and 32 centavos. This is for 1 year budget, 1 year contract. And so considering that this will be a 3-year contract, then it will be multiplied into 3. So the coverage of these includes Laguindingan Airport, Iligan, which is in Balui Airport, Camiguin, Osamis, and in Old Lumbia Airport. So this will be the stations of the coverage area of the project. So in Laguindingan Airport, there will be 34 posts, and we will be requiring 103 guards. In Iligan, 5 posts, 13 guards. Camiguin, 11 posts with 36 guards. Osamis, 13 and 42 guards. Old Lumbia, 5 posts and 13 security guards. So a total of 68 posts consisting of 207 security guards. So that is for the manpower requirement. Also, we implement 3-shift format with corresponding time of duty, 5 to 1 o'clock, 1 to 9 p.m., and 9 p.m. to 5 p.m. at 5 a.m. These are the equipment requirements, also categorized into 4: firearms and ammunition category, communication equipment category, motor power vehicles category, and other security equipment. So enumerated here or listed here are the specific requirement per category of equipment. These documents are available at Section 6 security requirements in the Philippine bidding documents for this project. For other security requirement, flashing your screens right now are the items required with a corresponding number of units or pieces required. For the uniform and equipment of guards, we require Class A, again, uniform. This should be provided by the PSA to their guards. 2 Class A uniforms per guard, raincoat, rain boots, medicine first aid kit or medical pouch, handcuffs, flashlights, nightstick baton, and whistle. So for other activities and requirements, this has to be done in the indicated delivery dates or period. So for the submission of the 201 file, 7 calendar days after notice of award. For the screening and interview by the CSIS, this is for 14 calendar days. And then the training for the AVSEC security guards and the inspection by the TIAC committee, this will be scheduled. And for the actual deployment of the qualified private security guards will be done 7 days after the receipt of the notice to proceed. So similarly, as discussed earlier, as presented earlier, here are the requirements. Qualification for our detachment commander. So these enumerations are also available in the schedule of requirements as found in Section 6 of the Philippine bidding documents for this project. Enumerated letter A to O for the qualification of the head guard or the shift in charge. Yun, emphasize lang namin yung requirement for aviation security training prior to deployment and must have passed the Ishihara test. And these are the requirements A to L, the security guards to be deployed. So for the ABSEC training, the the provider, security provider personnel assigned at the airport facilities under CAAP Area 10 must undergo the basic aviation security training phase 1, and they also have to take the ABSEC recurrency for every 2 years, and must establish a liaison office near the facility area in Area Center 10, in CAAP Area 10. And of course, this office has to be um, furnished completely with the equipment, consumables, and it should be manned by office personnel. So they should also conduct 2 relevant security training seminars. But including but not limited to these 4 training programs as indicated here, as enumerated here. So for security survey report, it is included in the documents, form number 13. Prospective bidder shall conduct security survey in each. Please take note that this security survey will be done in, or will be conducted in each and every airport or facility. So we have 7 or 8 facilities included. This has to be done in these facilities. For security plan of the PSA shall form part of the bidding document. So this has to be submitted during the deadline of submission of bids. And any modification or alteration thereof or revision, the CSIS or the procuring entity or the end user has to be notified in written for such revision. So again, for going to the ITB, the bid data sheet, ITB clause 5.3, this is for the similar contract under these
Wala ba si Frank?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we'll coordinate.
Okay, please.
I-inform ko po. Sir, ma'am, we do apologize for the inconvenience. We are experiencing technical difficulties here at the office. Please bear with us. We are just fixing it. Thank you.
So,
Attorney Frank, Secretariat and TWG, I'm joining from my mobile phone. There's something wrong with my, uh, I don't know if it's our connection, but Attorney Frank, I see that you're here already. Please proceed.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, I will now go to the bid data sheet, discussions on the bid data sheet. These are the highlights or the salient provisions of the bid data sheet. So 5.3, this refers to the similar contracts. We refer to contracts involving security services for purposes of like determining similar contracts. So the bidder has to submit a similar contract within a contract which is completed within the last 3 years prior to the submission, either a single contract amounting to at least 50% of the ABC or two contracts with an aggregate amount equivalent to at least 50% of the ABC, which the largest of these similar contracts must be equivalent to at least 25% of the ABC. For 7.1, we are not allowing subcontracting. 10.1 ITB, again, this refers to the submission of the technical eligibility and financial documents under Section 8 of the Section 8 of the bidding documents. So enumerated therein the required items or the required material documents. 10.2, statement of all ongoing government and private contracts. We are very particular on this. You have to indicate all government contracts awarded, even those awarded but not yet started within the last 3 years prior to the deadline of submission. So we have a specific form for this under form number 3. So in ITB 11.1, we have forms for the bid forms and financial bid sheet, as well as the bill of quantities. So the bidders just have to indicate the amount of the corresponding amount for agency fee, value added tax, and the minimum contract rate. So we will not be allowing any modification or revision or modification in these forms or alterations of any of the contents of these forms. So bids not complying with these instructions shall be a ground for a disqualification. For ITB 11.3, bid exceeding the ABC shall be disqualified. So for clarity, under ITB 19.3, the ABC of this project consists of 3 items: salaries, wages, agency fee, and the VAT or the taxes. So it has a corresponding amount as well. So for the ITB 20.2, this is for the bidder will be determined as the lowest calculated bidder. They have to submit the following documents for purposes of post-qualification: the latest income tax and business tax returns, certificate of field jobs registration, and appropriate licenses and permits as required in the bidding documents. So in the special conditions of the contract, GCC Clause 2.0, these are the requirements for upon billing. This has to be submitted. Items 1 to 6, certificate of performance, official receipt, certificate under oath attesting compliance with the DOLE minimum wage law, the monthly disposition reports, and the oath attesting prompt payment of wages and benefits of the security guards, as well as the MDR for which was stamped and received by PNP Sosha prior to the submission of the billing. GCC Clause 2.2, this is for the PSA to pay taxes in full and on time, and failure to do so shall entitle CAAP to suspend the payment of the services under EO 380 398. GCC Clause 4.0, the inspection and test that will cover the following, and this will be done by the Technical Inspection and Acceptance Committee, and any violations or non-compliance shall result into the cancellation or termination of the security services contract. So that's all, Mr. Chair, for security services for Area Center 10. And again, we are now ready to accept queries, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Attorney Frank, but considering that we have the same leaders, most of them actually, may we just read into record that the previous manifestations will also be taken into account. But if there are further questions from the prospective leaders who would wish to propound more and who weren't able to participate during the first item on the agenda, they may still do so, but just for purposes of record, the BAC is instructing the Secretariat and the TWG to include in the record previous manifestations as part and parcel of the discussion for this particular item, CAAP Area 10, the 3-year service agreement for security. Thank you. We're now ready to accept and respond and address queries and questions from the prospective leaders. Who would like to start, please, if any? Okay. Do we have anybody from the inbox? Attorney Irish? Anybody?
No messages in the internet.
Okay. From our participants, I see that someone is talking, but I think, sir, you're on mute. Okay.
Yeah, may I raise a question? Actually, this question I've been raising this question in other pre-bids. No? This involves, we have companies that have already gone beyond the limit of 1,000, the limit of the security agencies. And if we use these new agencies, some of these agencies will not be able to comply with the requirements as we place here. Is this just like in other pre-bids? Will you allow the same position wherein if you have a sister company which has already a track record of having, you placed a lot of requirements, will you allow a sister company to compete even though it manifests or it brings with it the compliances, the requirements with the sister companies?
Okay. Attorney Frank, please. Or do you want further clarification on the question?
Sir, as in consultation with the CSI, Mr. Chair, the sister company, we just want first to clarify, Mr. Chair, the sister company will be using the credentials of the mother company, Mr. Chair?
It's not that it's going to use the credentials, rather will it be able to use you require that the companies must have so many years of experience and so much capitalization. Would it be would it be allowed that like for instance in my case I have with me a mother company and so many number of agencies under it because as I was saying we have already gone beyond the limit of 1,000 guards, but if I'm going to use now this very new agency, it will definitely not be able to uh, uh, it will not be able to comply with all the requirements as stated in the as stated previously. So will you allow for the mother company or for the new agency to reflect to bring in the credentials of the other sister companies that it has?
If I may respond to that, Mr. Chair. Yeah.
Go ahead, Attorney Frank.
Sir, sorry, but we do not allow for the sister company to use the credentials of the mother company in order to obtain another contract, which might result into the excess of number of guards as required in the 1,000 requirement. But we will base the assessment, sir, on the sister company's qualification and credentials. So
Yeah.
if, say for example, the sister company meets the minimum requirements and has not yet exceeded the 1,000 guards maximum limit requirement, then we can accommodate that. I mean, we can accept the submission of that sister company, but using the mother company's credentials or qualifications, then we cannot accept that, Mr. Chair. Sir.
Thank you, Attorney Frank. Okay. Hope that clarifies, Sir Charlie, no? Pasensya na po. We're just following the regulations. So, that's clear. Thank you. Any other question? Okay. No more? Okay. All right. So we have one more item in our agenda. I think there's no more question for this particular item. Thank you very much for all those who participated in this conference. We appreciate the questions, and we'll see each other again on. Well, anyway, as mentioned earlier, we will read into record the previous manifestation. So please await further instructions from our TWG and the BAC on the resolution on other matters raised on the first item on the agenda. Okay? Those who will not participate on the third item are excused, but those who will still participate, please feel free to listen again and then propound questions thereafter. Thank you. Attorney Frank?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Considering, Mr. Chair, that all the participants for the last item are also the same participants in the previous two procurement activities for purposes of, for for us to save time, we will be just discussing the requirement of this project. This is for the provision of security services requirements for CAAP for Area Center 12. So the approved budget for this is 41,419,661 pesos and 40 centavos. Again, this is only for a 1-year contract, and considering that this is a 3-year contract, provision for a 3-year contract, then we will be multiplying this into 3. The coverage for this for the area center requirement, facilities include or airports included are Butuan, Surigao, Siargao, Tandag, and Bislig Airport. And the total number of guard posts required, total number of guard posts for this area Center 12 is 57, and we will be requiring 195 who will be rotating on a 3-shift work schedule. So this is the work schedule for just like with the 2 other projects. So also for these projects, we are requiring the following equipment. So you can also see the list in the schedule of requirements under section 6 of the bid docs. For other requirements, these are other equipment similar to the 2 other projects. This is the requirement for individual uniform and equipment of guards. And similar to the other projects, these are the activities to be done within the specific time frame as provided here. So, ganun din po, ganun lang din, similar pa rin yung requirements natin for qualifications for detachment commander, the head guard or shift in charge, and for security guards. So, all the other requirements po that were indicated or mentioned or discussed earlier or in the previous 2 projects, ganun pa rin po yung requirements po natin. So, in the interest of time, I will just be flashing the requirements po. So, bid data sheet, these are also the same clauses as provided because we are using a similar we're following a template as provided by the GPPB and customized in accordance with our requirement. So these are the ITB clauses 10.2, 11.1, 11.3. These were all discussed earlier. So except that in ITB clause 19.13, we highlight here the contract amount, and just to emphasize, this is for a 1-year contract. So again, the special conditions of the contract, GCC clause 2.2, 4.0, and 4.0. So, pareho lang po yung conditions po ng conditions and terms of reference as previously discussed in the last 2 projects po, NCR and Region 10. So, with that, kung meron pa po kayong katanungan, the technical working group and CSI are ready to accept your queries. We take note na po din, I think applicable din pa naman din yung, applicable pa rin naman yung mga comments and manifestations earlier. So we will just do the necessary corrections should there be any for this particular project. So that's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Attorney Frank. So again, with the previous discussion, we read into record the manifestations and the request coming from our prospective bidders on this particular item, as this is basically similar in provisions, right? So our technical working group and our secretariat, hand in hand with our CSIS, will be discussing the concerns and queries and will reply via official channels and proper procedure. So, but if there are other questions, please feel free to propound them and then raise them now. Or if you cannot think of any questions now, just proper procedure and proper process, you can write to BAC and we will answer them in writing also. Thank you very much. So, okay, opening the floor for further questions and queries, please.
To the chair.
So, yes, Captain Dante, please.
Sorry, I am trying to be prudent kasi medyo maingay yung background ko. But I deem it necessary to comment on this because in the presence of our would-be partners in the security, these bidders, I would like to manifest to the chair my observation with the end user. I remember, Mr. Chair, that there was a YouTube video clip being forwarded to me.
Captain Dante. Sir.
Yes, please.
I hope you don't mind, but can we just excuse the prospective bidders and then discuss your concern other matters? Is that okay with you, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Because we still have our prospective bidders, and I think what we're going to discuss is a matter internal to our CSIS, and also to be fair with security, because there may be items that will no longer concern our prospective bidders. Is that okay, sir? Is that okay with you?
Mr. Chair, I might be misinterpreted, but I just want to express this. It's not something negative. I look for our bidders as bidders. Okay. I just would like to encourage I would just like to encourage our prospective bidders and all our prospective service providers that in case of any clarification, because of this pandemic, whereby we try to approach the matter with other avenues, I discourage. I suggest that the social media is the least venue that we should approach at this moment, because we are partners here. Okay, so I have been. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, but I have been cautioned many times by other acquaintances on if this is true or not. But I have been telling them that the situation is not captured well in the video. But anyway, I would like to manifest here with with the indulgence of our prospective bidders that social media should be our least avenue or venue of approach, because we recognize that one of the security concerns is also about reputation. I guess they will also agree with me. Okay, we won't be misconstrued. And then I've been defending the organization with some acquaintance, but I just told them, I've been telling them that the situation was not captured. So with your indulgence, Mr. Chair, I would like to reach out to the would-be bidders that which they can always approach us because we are open, and by all means, I know we have some restrictions right now, but I know that there are available venues where none of which is the social media that they can approach us. Before they would approach the social media or the media, they should reach out to us, because we are very open and we are very willing to clarify some matters that concerns them. That is all, Mr. Chair. Yeah. Mr. Chair.
Yes, Captain Dante, thank you. Thank you very much for the manifestation. Right. Thank you.
They should reach out to us. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay. Sige. Now Captain Dante. Yeah, nakamute na si Captain Dante. Okay. Thank you, Captain Dante, and thank you to the prospective bidders. That is not intended for any other, or no particular bidder is being mentioned. Wala naman sinabi si Captain Dante But just for the record, since we also, this is being streamed live, okay, just lest we will be misconstrued, the invitation to, to reach out means proper implementation, okay? I mean, it doesn't mean that the bidders can reach out outside the proper channels of BAC because we are restricted by legal maps and restrictions, okay? I think Captain Dante is saying that if there are concerns, of course, redress of grievances is available, but the proper process is during implementation, not during the BAC proceedings, because BAC members are not allowed to deal with prospective bidders insofar as the ongoing processes are concerned. Okay, lest we be misconstrued, this is not an invitation to discuss individually with the BAC members because that is not prohibited by the chair, by the DG, and the board members. Ang gusto lang, I guess, ang sinasabi ni Captain Dante, whoever will win, whoever will be our partners, you can reach out to the management, to the proper authorities. But again, that is not also to mean that we are preventing you to any prospective bidders to reach out to any other avenue that you think could address your concern. The media is one of them. That's your right. That's actually the privilege in a democratic country. So I guess that's an appeal coming from si Captain Dante kasi is also part of the management. But if there are concerns, let us discuss them in the proper forum and proper channel. Only if you want. If you don't want to talk to us, that's okay also. You can do as you please because again, as mentioned, this is a democratic country. But again, thank you very much. I just thought that I'd clarify some of the manifestations given by Captain Dante so that there will be no we will not be misconstrued and misunderstood. Anyway, that is already beyond the mandate of the Bid and Award Security. So, but appreciate the manifestation of Captain Dante. Actually agree with most of what he said. So, but then again, to each his own. But thank you very much to our prospective bidders. Maraming salamat again for participating. We appreciate that you would want to be partner with CAAP insofar as security matters are concerned. So we will be excitedly waiting for your questions. And si Attorney Frank excited nang sagutin yung mga concerns ninyo in a proper manner so that we can settle and we make sure that we will have, again, the mandate is to come out with fresh contracts to qualified and responsive bidders. So we're very happy that many preliminarily manifested their interest. So thank you, especially doon sa mga nagtanong at may mga concerns that would help us further improve our documentation. Thank you very much. Be assured that we will answer your queries and we will look into your concerns if it would be proven later on that the concerns are reasonable and supported by evidence and by law, by legal maxim and by regulations. We will make sure that we'll address them and revise accordingly if need be. But of course, our end user, the security service, will have a big hand on the evaluation. Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat. If there are no more questions and if there are no further comments from our...
Mr. Chair?
Wait, meron pa ata.
I think Attorney Claustro, Mr. Chair, has a...
Yes. Sige, Attorney Claustro, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. This is just a request, Mr. Chair, that for our reference and guidance, we will request for a copy of the minutes of the proceedings today, which is also allowed under Section 22.4 of the 2016 IRR.
Sure,
There will
sir.
be a corresponding payment, Mr. Chair. We will pay them accordingly.
Yes, sir. Part of our transparency procedure is the release of this. But kung hindi na po kayo, if you need it urgently, this is also streamed live, di ba? So, nakaano naman nasa YouTube ba or sa Facebook?
It is in YouTube, Mr. Chair.
YouTube, okay. So, i-rewind nyo lang, sir. Yun na po yung pinaka-minutes natin. Baka kasi matagal yung pag-reduce into writing ng written minutes, but yun nga, naka-upload naman po siya, so lahat ng napag-usapan natin nandun naman po.
We appreciate, Mr. Chair. We can just have the link perhaps so that we can
yes,
download it.
Send them the link, please. Open naman yun for everyone, diba? Tama ba ako? Wala naman ano doon.
Mr. Chair, this meeting, Mr. Chair, it will be uploaded to the CAAP YouTube account, sir.
All
We will
right.
ask MIS, sir, to upload it immediately after this meeting, sir.
All right. Share this with the leaders also if they want to, so that they can go back to whatever was discussed during this meeting, and there will be no misapprehensions and baka magkaroon tayo ng different interpretations, but importante recorded ito. This is being streamed live. So, okay. Attorney Claustro, I hope that addresses your query. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. All right. No more. Do we have other matters that require discussion internally? Or we can adjourn the meeting?
We have
Sir,
none
we still
from the
have one
secretary.
item, sir.
Okay. So, okay. Meron pa ba?
Sir, yes, sir. We still have like one agenda item, sir, for which is only for the presentation of a report, sir. May I request, sir, that the secretariat to excuse the leader, sir.
We will
All right,
play with
thank
the
you.
Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Kala ko wala na. Meron pa pala.
Sir,
How about that?
week lang to, sir, presentation and lead evaluation, sir.
Okay, Attorney Frank, no problem. Just lang, sige, let us know. Let's start kung okay na at wala na yung prospective yung mga bidders natin.
Mr. Chair, our room is clear.
Okay, let's proceed with other matters for the presentation.
Uh, so, Mr. Chair, this is just a presentation of the bid evaluation, the outcome of the bid evaluation conducted by the technical working group for the project provision of security services requirements for Bicol International Airport, covering period of 6 months through negotiated procurement. So we opened the submission of bids last November 26, and there is only one submission. This is from the Advanced Remote Managed Security Services Incorporated, ARMC. And for this project, we invited 4 prospective security agencies, but only one submitted. So during the opening of bids, they complied all the requirements as specified in the invitation to bids. Thus, the TWG recommended for the bid evaluation, and that was approved by the committee. So here are the findings of our evaluation. The technical working group found that or ascertained that the submission of RMC is complete. They offered all the required items in the bill of materials or quantities for the as provided in the invitation to bid. The submitted bid of RMC is below the ABC of the project, and it is lower than the calculated bid. After arithmetical correction, we find the TWG finds some discrepancy amounting to 314 pesos and 28 centavos based on the SSS 2019 table of contribution, and we corrected that. So that makes the calculated bid of RMC amounting to 18,204,201 pesos and 12 centavos. So with these findings, the technical working group now is recommending that the bid proposal of Advanced Remote Managed Security Services to undergo post-qualification process being for offering or being ascertained as a single calculated bid in the amount of 17,904,550 pesos and 21 centavos for the Bicol International Airport Security Services requirement for consideration and approval of the Bids and Awards Committee, Charlie. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Attorney. Any comments from the other members? Motions to adopt, objections, inputs, questions, queries? Okay.
Motion, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
To the chair, I move for the recommendation as made by the TWD for the post-certification of the Advanced Remote Managed Security Services Inc. being the single lowest calculated bid.
Thank you for the motion, Ma'am Joyce. Any second?
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Colonel Hill. Attorney Frank, before feedback, teka, bago muna yan. Attorney Frank, can you flash again? Don't worry, I will, ano na natin to, ipa-finalize natin. I just want our timeline. Can you just flash it? Kasi nakita ko na open to na. When was the bid opening?
Sir, last November 25, 2021.
November 25. So this is bid evaluation. What is today? 6, right? I'm the 7. So this is for bid evaluation. Yung request ko lang, pwede ba mas mabilis yung bid eval? Kung pwede lang. Kung hindi, okay lang naman. Di naman. Sino ba nag-evaluate nito? CSI? TWG CSI? Kailan? 20 Iris? Kailan?
November 25 ko.
November 25. So, mga 2 or 3 weeks. Okay naman. Kung kaya lang mas mapabilisan pa because this is anyway bid evaluation. Okay. Kung pwede lang. Yun naman. Go ahead, Attorney Frank.
Actually, Mr. Chair, we are already ready to present this last week considering na yung availability lang po ng members natin na magkaroon ng quorum. Kaya ngayon lang po
Okay.
present. But we are already ready to present this.
Okay, so ang gusto sabihin ni Frank, kasalanan pala natin. So, sorry Frank. Sorry, So, okay. Next time, oo nga, sige, thank you. That's my bad, sorry. We've been busy, but sabi ko nga sa inyo, kung kahit na kung nasan man kami, okay lang naman, online naman tayo. But appreciate, actually, mabilis naman na yun, biglang bawin. Mabilis naman yun kung kaya lang bilisan pa. Pero since ready na pala kayo, my bad, ako pala. So, sorry, on record. Okay, so with that, with the proper motion and seconded by Colonel Muglake, the motion is carried. Let's proceed with the post-qualification. O yan, bilisan nyo na lang. Pag ready na kayo, sabihan nyo kami agad para umabot tayo sa December. Appreciate the help. Maraming salamat. Ang bilis-bilis nyo magtrabaho ngayon with the DG is very happy na nako-comply natin yung requirement nila ni SAPT na make sure there will be fresh contract. Thank you very much. Kasalanan pala talaga namin, kami pala mabagal. Sige, Frank, sabihan ko kay DJ mamaya yung reklamo mo para niya, para mapabilis. Sorry, may sasabihin ko, Frank.
Sir, we request the Secretariat, sir, to prepare the post-qualification letter. We are planning to conduct a post-qualification visit on Friday, Mr. Chair.
It has been prepared, sir.
Okay na mo, wala ka pang sinasabi na gawa na ni Irish. Okay. Thank you. Very good coordination with kila Ma'am Odessa, kila Colonel Hill. Thank you to the members. I think yun lang yung meron tayo, no? Wala na. So, okay. For post ko na yan. Okay. Thank you. Let's continue to expedite yung mga security natin para lahat fresh tayo next year sa ating mga contracts with them. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your hard work. And meron pa ba tayo? Kailan pa yung mga susunod natin? Hindi mo na ako mag-Merry Christmas kasi baka mamaya parang meron pa pala tayo.
Sir, we will be opening the submission for security services for NCR 10 and 12 on December 20.
December,
Holiday.
ay. Oh no, sige, okay lang. Opening naman yan di ba?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Opening, sir.
Anong oras?
That is 2 p.m., sir.
2 p.m. Sige, sige. Baka pwede naman si Colonel dyan. Kasi I think I'll be out of town on that day. But I'll see kung makahabol. Otherwise, I'll be joining virtually. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Iris. Thank you. Thank you, Cornelio. Thank you, Ma'am Joyce. Captain Dante, thank you very much. Sino po ba member natin dito? Sir Elmer, thank you very much. Thank you. Alright, DWD, Secretariat, maraming salamat. Have a good afternoon and stay safe, everyone. Okay, take your booster shot if you're already qualified, please. Kung gusto nyo lang, I mean, para safe lahat. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you po.